Do you remember Jimbo and the Jet Set? It was a 1986 cartoon about Jimbo, an anthropomorphic cartoon plane, working from the fictional London airport, supported in each episode by his friends Tommy Tow Truck and Amanda Baggage, and working under the questionable orders of the Chief Controller. Jimbo is the second of the Peter Maddocks cartoons created for the BBC. Jimbo and the Jet Set was bright, colourful fun for the kids of the 1980s. My name's Anthony Robin, you can call me Tony, and this is Remembering Jimbo and the Jet Set. Jimbo and the Jet Set was first broadcast from 1986 till 1987. Like the family nest before it, Jimbo and the Jet Set has 25 episodes, each 5 minutes long, including the credits. Also like the family nest, Jimbo and the Jet Set is not currently available to view anywhere. It's not on the BBC iPlayer or on any major streaming service. If you are aware of somewhere where the show is available to view legitimately, please leave a comment below. At the time of recording, some episodes are available to view on YouTube. A BBC VHS tape was released in 1987 with 12 of the 25 episodes. And in 1999, a pair of VHS tapes were released with all 25 episodes. DVDs of the same tapes were released in 2004 and can still be found for reasonable prices on some second-hand sites. Jimbo was the second cartoon made by Maddocks Animations, an animated cartoon company founded by Peter Maddocks. Peter Maddocks was an incredibly prolific British cartoonist. Throughout his lifetime, he created many cartoon sketches for a variety of publications. And during the 80s, he created 3 shows for the BBC. The Family Nest, that I covered in my last video, Jimbo and the Jet Set, which is this video, and Penny Crayon, that I will be covering in my next video. All 3 cartoons were very well received, and ran on BBC children's programming throughout the 80s and 90s. The theme song for Jimbo was written by Roger and Gavin Greenway, a father and son team who also did the theme songs for the family nest. The theme song for Jimbo is a brassy number that builds up to a crescendo. Throughout the show's opening, Jimbo is flying overhead, while people and animals point up at him and yell, "Jimbo!" before Jimbo flies too close to the control tower, shattering its windows. The show's closing theme is an instrumental version of the opening, with the credits being shown on a plain blue background. The theme song is not as catchy as the one used for the family nest, but it is still a very striking opening, and the words are certainly easy to remember. The Christmas episode has a special closing theme, in which they sing us a Merry Christmas over the closing credits. As in the family nest, all the voices are provided by Peter Hawkins and Susan Sheridan, both of whom have had a wide variety of voice roles throughout their careers. Peter Hawkins' work includes the original voice of the Daleks in Doctor Who, the original voice of Zippy in Rainbow, and various parts in David Allen at Large. Susan Sheridan's work includes Princess Sylvia in the Muzzy BBC language tapes, the voice of Ferdy in the English language version of Ferdy, and most importantly the voice of the original Trillian in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy radio play. Jimbo was a mistake. He was meant to be a jumbo jet, but his manufacturer mixed up inches and centimetres, meaning that Jimbo was built less than half the size he was supposed to be. This is Jimbo's origin story, as told in the very first episode. So Jimbo's not a jumbo, he's a Jimbo! That's a line that the show keeps using like it's a joke, but I think I must be missing something, because I don't get it. Jimbo is a cheerful, but slightly childish plane. He likes being able to fly quickly, and always goes out of his way to help people. But he's also a bit lazy, looking to avoid work if he can. And he has a tendency to talk back to the Chief Controller. Overall, he's good-natured and a bit cheeky. Due to his size and his attitude, he's referred to as a junior jumbo by other planes and the Chief Controller. The Chief Controller is in charge of the airport. He spends most of his time in the control tower, ordering Jimbo around via loudspeaker. The Chief is self-important, questionably competent, and has a bit of an outdated attitude towards women. We'll talk more about that later. Jimbo is helped out at the airport by Tommy Tow Truck. Tommy comes across as a put-upon worker who's seen it all before, and is just looking for a quiet life. He often realises when extra work is coming before Jimbo does, and encourages him to slip off before they get orders from the Chief Controller. Other workers at the airport include Amanda Baggage Cart, Freddy Fire Truck, and a handful of one-off characters. The show revolves around Jimbo and his adventures. These are short, light-hearted affairs. Some episodes are based at London Airport, such as episode 5, April Fool's Day, when they run a series of fire drills. Some episodes take place around the world, like episode 14, Jumbo Jimbo, where Jimbo helps to put out a forest fire in Central Africa, and some episodes, my favourites, even involve the space program. Episode 17, The Chief Gets a Rocket, sees Jimbo flying an astronaut out to a secret location for a test flight, but they accidentally launch the control tower instead. In episode 23, The Great Air Race, Jimbo has a friendly shuttle load him with rocket fuel so he can get to the finish line first. But my very favourite episode of Jimbo and the Jet Set is episode 13, Jimbo and the Astronaut. Jimbo realises that he's flying too high, So high in fact that his instruments and his radio have stopped working. So high in fact that he's in outer space. I would complain that this is impossible for a commercial aircraft, but we're talking about a show with sentient planes with faces, so let's not worry about it too much. While in space, Jimbo comes across a stranded astronaut who went out to fix his rocket, but his rocket has descended to Earth without him. Jimbo agrees to tow him home, and they grab a bit of space debris that the astronaut can use as a heat shield as they re-enter the atmosphere. It's basically Gravity for kids, in 4 minutes. Jimbo works at the fictional London airport. London has 3 real airports that are worth mentioning. Heathrow, which has 2 large runways, Gatwick, which has 1 large runway and 1 backup runway, and London City Airport, which has 1 runway. In the show, Jimbo often takes off from runway 4. However, we never see him use any other runways, and in the wide shot of the airport that we see in the show's opening, we only see 1 runway and the control tower. My theory is that London Airport only has 1 runway, but that the chief controller has renamed it runway 4 to make his airport seem bigger and more important. But if London Airport really does have 4 modern runways, that makes it the largest airport in London. Albeit fictionally. The planes and vehicles in the show are sentient, independent beings. They are able to control themselves and don't need drivers or pilots. Except in episode 24, the Little Red Devil. The Red Devil planes have pilots, but they also have big smiles. Have these planes been lobotomized to allow for human pilots? Also, in episode 16, the Bermuda Triangle, when we see Jimbo and Oldtimer flash back to the war, are we seeing Oldtimer kill this enemy plane? Something to think about. The show is from the 1980s, and some parts haven't aged well. Not that there was any malice on the part of the show's creators, it's just that there are some things in the show that you probably wouldn't do today. Like having this Indian plane doctor being voiced by a white voice actor, doing the accent. There's also the chief controller's attitude towards women. He constantly refers to all the women he meets as my dear. He then takes this a step further by telling some of them not to worry their pretty little heads about things.
Don't you worry your pretty little head, my dear. I shall have a plane ready for your passengers.
We also get a character in episode 12, Jimbo Down Under, who bears more than a passing resemblance to a disgraced children's entertainer. No, not that one. No, not that one. Yep, that's the one. Of course, there was no way the show could have predicted in the 80s that he would turn out to be a nonce. The show was successful in the UK and was also shown in parts of Europe and the Middle East. Jimbo was featured in the BBC comic for preschool children, Buttons, and he also had a strip in the Sunday Mail. Oink Comic even ran a parody strip called Johnny and the Jet Set. Various merchandise was available for Jimbo and the Jet Set, including children's books, knitting patterns, clothing, and these plastic models made by ERTL, who had previously made die-cast figures of Thomas the Tank Engine. This Jimbo ride appeared on high streets and in shopping centres in the 1980s. For the cost of the ride, the child had 30 seconds of gentle movement and engine noises, as well as 4 buttons that would play voice clips from the show. If you ever rode in one of these, leave a comment down below. Jimbo and the Jet Set is still a fun show to go back and revisit. I wouldn't recommend sitting down to watch the whole series in one sitting, but watching a couple of episodes at a time gives you a really good dose of light-hearted nostalgia. I really enjoyed rewatching this show. And if you enjoyed watching this video, stay tuned to the channel. My next video will be on Penny Crayon, the final Peter Maddocks cartoon of the 1980s. I've been Anthony Robin, you can call me Tony, and until next time guys, bye-zy bye.